From the shocking moment a photographer captured a comet burst into flames just as it was about to crash into the Earth, to the largest meteor ever filmed seen illuminating the sky over a busy Russian city in 2013. Here are 5 incredible meteor impacts that were caught on camera. Chelyabinsk is the second largest city in Russia, with just over 1 million people calling it home. It's the birthplace of 19 professional hockey players, 2 chess grandmasters, and a handful of Olympians. However, in the winter of 2013, Chelyabinsk became known for something else. An average February day quickly turned to chaos when a small asteroid broke apart over the city. And when we say small asteroid, we mean the size of a 6-story building. One of those chunks, a rock aptly named the Chelyabinsk Meteor, came careening down to Earth with unimaginable power. Our Russian driver heads out on his morning commute when he sees a bright light in the sky. It's not the sun, it's not a plane, and it's certainly not Russian Superman. The light gets closer, and the object becomes clear as day. It is a massive meteor on a collision course with the city below. Finally, it disappears behind distant buildings, erupting in a flash of light that scientists say was brighter than the sun. The Chelyabinsk meteor traveled at almost 34,000 miles per hour as it fell from the sky, and the impact was as powerful as a nuclear explosion. So powerful, in fact, that threat detectors in Antarctica went off. The shockwave injured 1,200 people as it sent glass and small objects flying in every direction. Now, scientists estimate the Chelyabinsk meteor was 54 feet across and weighed over 10,000 metric tons. Thankfully, it landed high in the Ural Mountains. Chelyabinsk wouldn't be standing if the meteor hit the city. To put its size into perspective, the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs was between 10 and 15 kilometers wide. Meanwhile, the Chelyabinsk meteor was about 1/100th of a single kilometer. To this day, Chelyabinsk is the largest fireball ever recorded, but it's far from the only. Yushu City is a small county-level city in China. The area isn't known for much other than a few annual festivals and being 12,000 feet above sea level. However, Yushu claimed its 15 minutes of fame when footage of a bright meteor flying over the city surfaced in December of 2020. You'll never understand how bright a meteor is until you see one at night. The people in Yushu learned firsthand how a falling meteor can actually turn night into day. It was about 7:30 in the morning when the meteor flew overhead. If you didn't know what was happening, you'd think it was mid-afternoon. Now we get 2 pretty eye-opening shots of the same event. First, the meteor passes over a more rural, mountainous area. It lights up the sky before disappearing behind the mountain. Then, everything goes dark again. Next, we see a dark soccer field, and even though we don't see the meteor, we clearly see how bright it is as the entire soccer field lights up like it's ready for an afternoon game. Scientists estimate the energy released from the Yushu meteor was about 490 joules, which equals 9.5 kilotons of TNT, or a small nuclear blast. Thankfully, nobody was hurt when the meteor finally crashed into the ground, though the impact was enough to set off Chinese earthquake monitors. Now, Yushu has a minor claim to fame. It's home to the 15th largest fireball event ever. It's easy to see why many ancient people deified meteors and asteroids. Imagine looking up and seeing this massive bright light in the sky that isn't the sun. Without modern science to explain it, any rational Roman might just call it God. A hobby photographer in Idaho captured one of those deity moments as a meteor fell from the sky and lit up the clouds with bright hues of white, green, and blue. If you weren't paying attention and perhaps feeling guilty about something, you just might call it a sign from God. A mounted camera captures the moment when a meteor enters the atmosphere over Idaho and illuminates the night sky. When slowed down, we can see the bright white tail coming off the back. Finally, the meteor releases a flash of light as bright as the sun once it gets close enough. According to the American Meteor Society, 31 people reported seeing the same meteor across 6 states: Idaho, Montana, Oregon, Washington, Utah, and Wyoming. And according to NASA, these types of events only happen once per year. Jordan Ragsdale, the astrophotographer whose footage you're watching, waited all year to get the perfect shot. Some of us just aren't that patient. In 1933, an English author named James Hilton invented a fictional Chinese city called Shangri-La. He described it as a mystical valley nestled in the Kunlun Mountains. Ever since, it's become synonymous with paradise on Earth. Then, in 2001, the city formerly known as Zhongdian changed its name to Shangri-La to promote tourism in the land. In 2017, Shangri-La re-entered the mainstream when a meteor interrupted the Mid-Autumn Festival. At first, people were looking at the full moon, but then something more spectacular stole their attention.
流星？哇，不是啊，小方形。哎，你我给走走。叶老师，哇！流星吗？孩子们？流星！哇！流星！看流星了！是流星吗？啊，流星！哎，还不把说。就是楼的地形上，是不是？来不及了，冲破大气层，冲下来。
We get a couple of good angles with this meteor, with the first showing a far-off shot of it as it streaks across the sky. The next camera operator zooms in on the meteor, making it look like a sunset time-lapse video. Finally, we see footage from inside a family's car as the meteor lights up the clouds overhead. The entire event only lasted 10 seconds before the meteor disintegrated, letting out a loud sonic boom. Still, what was left hit the ground with energy equal to 540 tons of TNT. One villager remembered hearing a loud bang and falling to the floor while his pigs escaped their pen in fear. Though small compared to the other meteors on this list, the giant space rock would have done serious damage, even if it hit Shangri-La's fictional utopian counterpart. Cameras and police cars date back to the earliest days of film. Believe it or not, California cops in 1939 drove around with old-school movie cameras mounted in their front seats. While it looked pretty ridiculous, it was a major step towards modern policing. Fast forward to 2022, and most cop cars come equipped with dash cams by default. The same is true in Canada. However, on December 20th of 2008, one Canadian cop caught more than reckless driving on his dash cam. In the distance, something was falling out of the sky. Once it got closer to Earth, he realized what it was. It all happens so fast. At first, there's nothing. Then, a long streak of bright white light comes crashing down from space and disappears over the horizon. Slowed down and zoomed in, we can clearly see the meteor as it enters the atmosphere, explodes, and then disintegrates. But what are we looking at exactly? This was the Buzzard Coulee meteorite that fell over Saskatchewan, Canada. a shower over 400 people reported seeing across Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and North Dakota. Coulee entered the atmosphere at about 14 kilometers per second, which is over 31,000 miles per hour. Scientists estimate it was the size of your average work desk. Your average 10-ton work desk. Well, that about wraps things up for this video. But if you enjoyed it and want to see more just like it, then be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thank you all for watching, and be sure to tune in next time.